Hi everybody, welcome back to another coaching video. Today we're going to talk about tackling from behind. Bit of a funny one. We don't want our players tackling from behind and giving away free kicks and getting red cards and all that sort of stuff. But there is a technique to dealing with a situation where a player's in front of you with the ball and you've got to try and retrieve that ball from behind. So running behind them. It's a good activity, this one. Lots of fun. You can do it multiple times. You can vary it. You can get all the players involved. You can easily regress it, easily progress it as well. So let's have a quick look.
Okay, player one in the blue has to dribble through one of the gates at the top. Player one in the red has to try and get the ball, tackle them, and dribble it past their end line where that single red cone is. Once the red number one gets the ball, it becomes open play, so number one can get the ball again and try and dribble it through their gates, and we play to a finish. So let's have a look at it in action. This is from one of our sessions recently. You'll just see there we've got two pairs working. We had some further on the left as well, and they've basically got to do exactly what we just saw. They've got to go through one of the gates as fast as they can. What I'm trying to get into the players as well is once they've finished, is can they get back to the start as soon as possible and get going, get as many reps in as they can. Some of the coaching points you want to think about with this one are the defender. What I found when coaching this was a lot of them just simply ran behind the player in hope that maybe the player would mess up or whatever and they could nick in and get it. What started to happen was, certainly with the players on the right, they started to realise that if they cut off the angle to where the goals were, the gates, that made it very difficult for the attacker. So instead of just running behind them, they were actually running around them almost and getting and blocking off the areas, blocking off those danger areas, and it made it really, really easy for them then to hold up the attacker and make a tackle or make an interception. So that's something definitely you want to be talking to the players about, the fact they don't always have to be attracted to the ball. They can go cause some problems and go give the attacker something else to think about just by cutting off their angles, cutting off those places where the attacker wants to be. The second thing we discussed was sometimes simply the attacking player was too fast and they wouldn't be able to get to them. Now, if I wanted to increase the difficulty for the attackers here, I'd just make this wider or longer or both. But what we discussed then was that we are going to play against players who are faster, and we are going to be in these situations where we can't catch them. So what can we do to help our team or just to affect the play a little bit? And so what we discussed was maybe getting an arm out, maybe just trying to use the forearm a little bit to get it onto the attacker, just give them a little nudge, a little move, not a push, not a foul, but just to off balance them slightly, because then in a match situation, if they came to have a shot and there's a little arm on their shoulder or whatever, it just gives them that, it just sort of tips the balance a little bit and might make it difficult for them. We just spoke about the fact that we have to make this situation as hard as possible for the attacker. If we know we can't catch them, what can we do to delay them, to put them off a little bit without it being a foul? So those are things certainly to talk about with your players. And after a while in this session this evening, they really got it and they just started to have a little bit more success on the defending side. You'll see on the left there, great recovering tackle from the attacker there. So you sort of talk to your players not just about the success of actually retrieving the ball and scoring a goal on their end line. It's okay, have you impacted play for your team? Have you helped them just by, you know, like I say, getting that arm on them or whatever it might be? But it's a fun drill. Give it a try and you can do lots with it. Something that we did towards the end of this session was the defender had to have an arm on the attacker's shoulder and close their eyes. As soon as the attacker moved, they could open their eyes and then off they went. So that was just a little bit of a fun one to finish with. What I would say to coaches listening to this is don't always have it whereby you have to command it, so you have to say go before they can go, because that's not really going to be in a match style. It's not really contextual. I did that for the first few rounds just for them to get used to it, but then I said, okay, now it's up to you guys. The attacker goes when they're ready. So then the defender has to react to that as opposed to always reacting to that audio signal. if that makes sense. So that's the drill. Have fun with it and let us know how you get on.